Okay, this is Vic, and again I'm talking about the Cadillac ELR, the car that's going to redefine how we determine fuel efficiency in our automobiles. This is my 2014 ELR. Oftentimes when people first see it, they want to know what the gas mileage is. To me, gas mileage is almost, I won't say it is irrelevant, but it's almost irrelevant, because my biggest concern about my ELR is, will the gasoline go bad before I have a chance to use it? And it only has a 9.5 gallon gas tank. The car is a front wheel drive and is driven by electric motors, so when I'm going slowly in traffic, when I'm stuck in traffic and traffic is moving very, very slowly, I don't have to be concerned about using gasoline. All I know is when I'm not moving, the electric drive motors that drive the car, that drive the front wheels, are not running. Therefore, I'm using that much less electricity. So the car is smart enough to know when to turn power on to different areas. And for that reason, I think the Cadillac ELR and the Chevrolet Volt, for that matter, should help us to redefine how we look at the efficiency of our automobiles. And another plus on this car is that it is made by a company that is domestic to America. One thing I'd like to point out on my specific ELR is, as usual, on any car that I own, I have a United States Navy sticker. I always fly that Navy flag any chance I get. Okay, this is Vic. I'm shooting more video of my 2014 Cadillac ELR. Now, I'm going to talk about the ELR and some technical capabilities of the ELR as far as I know them. First of all, I'll go ahead and say I've done some research, and I cannot find anything where either GM or Cadillac says ELR is an acronym for a specific word. ELR is just the name of the car. However, I do have a recommendation, and I think it sounds good. ELR can stand for Electric Luxury Ride. And I think that sounds good, because the ELR is in fact a luxury ride, and it is electric. It runs on electricity, and the ELR does not care where the electricity comes from. It can come from the car being plugged into a residential outlet, or it can come from the generator that the car carries under the hood. The computer monitors the health of the system overall, and when the computer determines that the power supply that the ELR carries is becoming when it determines that the power supply needs to be recharged, then the computer will tell the gasoline engine to start. The gasoline engine is the prime mover for an electric generator. Now I'm pointing over here. This is where the car gets plugged into an electrical outlet at night when I'm not driving it, while I'm sleeping. And speaking of charging the car and the gasoline engine, I have been asked one question concerning the possibility of the ELR leaving a person stranded. And the question was, if the battery gets to the point where it needs to be charged, or the power supply gets to the point where the car needs to be charged, and you shut the car down, will it still start? And the answer to that is yes, because the engineers associated with the ELR were smart enough to allow the car to show the user the status of the power supply. And when the car is telling the owner that the power supply is depleted, then the car in fact still has enough power left to at least power the electronics inside of the automobile and allow you to start the car. So once the car is started immediately, or once, I shall say, once the car is energized, because technically speaking, you don't really start the car. Once you push the button and the car is energized, immediately, under the conditions that I just stated, the engine, which is the onboard generator, the generator will start to generate electricity. So the car will not leave you stranded. The only way you're going to get stranded with the ELR is if your backup generator is not working. The only way that your backup generator will not work, the most common way that I can think of, is if the driver fails to put gas in the gas tank. Now the gas tank in the Cadillac, the 2014 Cadillac ELR, is about 9.5 gallons. That's a very, very small gas tank to fill a car up. I mean, for a Cadillac. That's a very small gas tank for any car, pretty much. And while I'm talking about gasoline and power supplies, I'll go ahead and point out one thing. When traffic is moving very, very slowly, is almost at a standstill, I can sit around and I look at these people and I'm thinking to myself, imagine all of the gallons of gas that all these cars are sucking right now. Meanwhile, I am sucking no gas. Literally, no gasoline am I using. The only power that the ELR will use when sitting at a standstill is the electricity that it needs to power the electronics or the air conditioning or the stereo or whatever you as the driver have running. Unlike other cars, other conventionally powered cars, even though you're sitting in traffic at a standstill, you're still using gasoline and you're still using fuel and you're going nowhere. Now the ELR is front wheel drive. The motors, there's electric motors that drive the front wheels. So once again, that reinforces when you're standing still and going nowhere, stuck in traffic for example, the motors are using no electricity, or literally almost zero electricity, because they aren't turning at all. Okay, the only power that the motors are using is the electricity needed to turn the wheels at the speed that you're going, and that greatly increases the energy efficiency of the car. I have a hard time talking about efficiency of the ELR because I have a tendency to refer to efficiency as fuel efficiency, and fuel efficiency is almost irrelevant with the ELR. It is actually energy efficiency. How efficient does the car use energy? It's not so much gasoline, but it is energy or electricity, because the car runs solely on electricity. Like I said earlier, the car doesn't care where the electricity comes from. It can come from being plugged in into the outlet at home, or it can come from the built-in generator that it carries under the hood. The generator, or the gasoline-powered engine, acts as the prime mover for an electric generator. Engineers and those associated with the electrical field will know what the purpose of a prime mover is. The prime mover does not have to be a gasoline engine. However, it makes very good sense for it to be a gasoline engine because currently the infrastructure in the United States supports the public being able to easily purchase gasoline. And that's